Saturn Bars, the Gorillaz song. At the very beginning is what they say.
The end of that song is great, and the rest of it's hard to get through.
I love that song, but
Okay.
it's
This all stays in.
not their best work.
No, that whole album is like
his best work.
Is a lot of
that
misses.
album's all over the place.
Yeah, there's some good ones and some ones that I'm
like,
liking.
this is what happens when I take 10 years off and go, what's popular now? All right, I got you. I can do that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which I think he nailed it. I just don't like the style of music that it was. I think it's mostly what it was.
Yeah.
But we're not here to talk about Gorillaz. We talk about Gorillaz all the time.
Weirdly enough, this is the Dylan Joe Basement Podcast. I mean, Toilet Wine, but
at some point tonight.
Yeah, of course they'll come. They're gonna come up.
Oh, they're gonna come.
I saw one of those what if questions. I'm gonna bring it up right now. Where it was, would you rather be trapped in a mall with one gorilla or 5 black mambas?
Yeah, I saw that.
And the more common is like, well, are they mad at me or they're just like at the mall too?
They're just there.
Which I love because it's a terrible question. It's a shit question. Obviously,
it is terrible.
If I like Mondos, no problem. Kidding me? In a mall, I can avoid 5 snakes in a mall. I don't think I can avoid a gorilla if it wants to kill me.
Yeah, well, yeah, snakes are easy. You just stay away from them.
You just call upon the power of St. Patrick to drive them away.
It's just some drunk ass guy from Boston. Dude, get the fuck out of here! I'm trying to get to the Dunkin' Donuts.
Fucking snakes, get out of here, you slithery bastards.
But we're not here talking about Gorillaz. We're sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself here.
We're here to talk about scarabs. Not the Halo thing.
You may have noticed that one of us is not here today, Mr. Dylan Reed.
It's so true.
Which means we're doing a toilet wine, and as always, he gave us a crazy reason why he can't make it.
Whether it's true or not, that's for you to decide. But we take him at face value because he's our friend and we trust him.
Every time I think he's making it up, he has another one that I'm like, you know what, that's very believable.
Yeah.
Like today, he's actually driving to Montana because he prefers to renew his car's warranty in person.
He does love driving, too, so that tracks. This is actually one of the most believable ones.
Except for the warranty part. I don't know if he's a warranty guy, but you never know.
Warranty. I think Warren G. Harding is maybe more his speed.
More like War and Peace, am I right? Or as it was originally called, War, what's it good for?
Absolutely nothing. Much like this podcast. What are we here to talk about today, Dom?
We're here to talk about mummies. We're going back to ancient Egypt. But first, Joe, before we get into that, I got a couple questions for you. I've done this once before. I'm going to try to keep doing it. I'm going to try to move it into the actual podcast, too, if I can keep thinking of good questions.
I love your professionalism.
I have 2 questions for you, Joe.
Okay.
First one. Do you know the difference between Creed and Alter Bridge, the bands?
I've never heard of Alter Bridge, so the difference would be hard to find. I imagine one of them is Christian rock, the other one is Christian pop?
They're both rock bands.
Oh,
the difference is that Scott Stapp does not sing in Alter Bridge. Other than that, it's the exact same band.
Really?
Different singer. Yep.
So the best part of Creed is missing from the other band, in other words.
Yep.
We're Queen without Freddie Mercury. Oh, good.
They have
oh, good. We
Miles
hated him
Kennedy
anyway.
Singing instead. He's got a great voice as well.
Who's that?
Scott Stapp. Miles Kennedy's the singer.
He's one of the Kennedy. He's Robert Kennedy's nephew.
Yeah. The guitarist from Creed started Creed, found the other 3 people, then after a while left Creed, started Alter Bridge with Miles Kennedy, then brought the drummer and bassist from Creed. Like, just come with us.
Come on, we're Creed. So is Stapp against it because they started their own band, or at some point will Alter Bridge just become Creed when they add Stapp in?
That's an excellent question that I don't.
Has that ever happened? Actually,
I do not speak for God.
I know one example where it's happened where they just changed their name, but like, has there ever been a band where it was one band, they disintegrated and then became another band, but it's all the same guys? Audio Slave is it, right? Or no, Soundgarden has not the same people though, right?
Audio Slave is Rage Against the Machine without Zach.
That's what it is. I don't think it has the same. The one thing I would have thought of, but I don't know the membership is Jefferson Airplane, Jefferson Starship.
Yeah.
So I mean, some of the same people, but not. I don't think it's ever, because if you're going to take all the same people and eventually form the band again, you would just tour again as the more famous band that you used to be. Like if Stapp joins,
just ripped a hole in my sock, just so you know.
Oh, okay.
That was fun. Sorry.
Anyway, so does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. Was there another?
Now
question?
I got one more for you. You got to really dig back in the memory banks. Think of when you were a child.
Agent Cody Banks. Okay.
Which one did you prefer as a child, or maybe even now, when you're playing a game? You got to who's it?
Well, which is it?
Are you
a child or now? I might have two different answers.
We'll do child. We'll stick with child.
All right.
Really dig back into the vault there.
Okay.
Which did you prefer? Bubblegum in a dish or skunk in a barnyard?
Never did skunk in a barnyard, so pretty easy choice.
You
there.
never did skunk in the barnyard?
Well, let me guess how it goes. Skunk in the barnyard, 2 bits. I know, I never did that one.
Really? We did that one in Cook Lane all the time.
It was eeny, meeny, miny, mo, or bubblegum. It was never skunk in a barnyard. That's an interesting one.
Oh, skunk in the barnyard, same thing. All your feet are right in it. Skunk in the barnyard. P.U. Somebody caught it. That's you. And then you're.
But it is the same tune as
Steve and
Erica.
Yeah.
Okay, because the beats, whatever you call it, the amount of syllables, it sounded like it could have been Shaven Hammer. Yeah, no, I never did P.U. I don't think.
Oh yeah,
but I do remember P.U. So maybe I did do it, but I don't remember it being called skunk in the bar. Oh, who cares? Bubblegum is the.
Bubblegum is a classic, especially when you get smart enough to realize you can count your way into making sure you don't get picked.
Yeah, which is the worst one when they go, my mother told me to pick the very best one, and it is almost you, but it is not. You just keep going into it's like shut the fuck up. Even as like an 8-year-old, I was like, you're cheating for sure. But yeah, bubblegum. For sure.
Yes, those are my two questions.
I prefer eeny, meeny, miny, mo though. Where you just get eliminated one by one though.
Yep, easy peasy.
And then out goes YOU. It's not if my mother told me to pick that. Don't bring your mother into this.
No.
Don't bring anyone's mother into this. Joe Clip.
The fucking stand.
Her mama is
Hold it. Wait a minute. Don't bring anyone's mother into this. She ain't here.
Well, what's the other thing? Who the fuck's Randy? No, who's Randy? Did I show you that clip of that guy who's Randy?
You must have.
It's so
maybe not the full one.
Folks, I'm going to put that clip in now so you can see it, but I'm going to describe it to Don. What it is it's an interview from like NFL Films, and they're asking like, people who played NFL in like the 70s. Like their heads are fucking mush. They're like Muhammad Ali head. And the guy's sitting there, and his wife's sitting next to him, and he's like, yep, he's had a lot of injuries, head trauma. So like at this point, like he's very forgetful. Without me, he would be lost. Like he doesn't remember where we are. He remembers me, but doesn't actually know what we're doing or why we're there. And she goes, he always, as soon as he like catches up to what's going on, he asks if we can go. He always wants to leave, and then I always tell him, Randy is waiting for us. He's just getting the car now. So I make up this guy Randy so that he knows. Oh, Randy's gonna get the car, and that way we'll leave. And then so that's all. And he'll be placated for like 5 minutes. If he asks again, so Randy's getting the car, and then she's like, that's what we always do with him, and it works out. And so the interviewer turns to me and goes, yeah, sir.
For this past hour, no matter how many times you tell him, he keeps asking.
But then the answer satisfies him for the moment. Then we can wait till the next moment.
Ready to go?
We're ready to go.
You gonna get Randy on the phone or anything to?
I don't know, who is Randy?
The players' wives say that this is an epidemic waiting to happen in the NFL.
So is that what happens? Usually Randy will come pick you guys up, and he goes, "Who's Randy?" It's amazing. And not only is it like, it proves that he doesn't remember anything. It's like even the excuse that she's like, it always works. He's like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Well, they left it in. They left it in. I mean, obviously, I'm glad they did, but it's like that's so sad that he doesn't even.
Have you seen the Muhammad Ali one where he's at dinner with like a bunch of people and some guys?
Oh no, I don't like seeing the Muhammad Ali ones because he was the quickest.
No, this one's.
I love Ali.
He's there and he starts closing his eyes and starts going like this, and his wife goes, "Oh yeah, this happens." Time to time, he just kind of starts zoning out, his eyes closed.
Sure, yeah.
Sometimes he even starts punching a little bit. You kind of just got to stay out of his way. It's
yeah, he starts. He goes right back to it.
And he starts just going like this, and the interview guy like starts like looking really worried and like leaning back a little bit. And Muhammad Ali just opens his eyes and grabs him and goes, "Ah!" And they all start laughing.
I like that. He's still with it. That's why I hate seeing late stage Ali, because like that guy is one of the quickest.
No, this is definitely like 10, 15 years after his career, something like that.
Yeah, so he's still all right. But yeah, I mean, like not only the quickest guy like with his mouth, like obviously with his hands in his butt, like he's like one of the quickest people. He's like the Flash incarnate. Like he just quickest wit, quickest hands.
He's gonna trick you off with supersonic speed.
that's the Nega Flash. That's the reverse Flash. It was me, Barry. I made it so you look like you nutted at a woman's touch. Joe put that in. We'll all work for myself this episode. So that'll be about 20 minutes. And then, so now imagine we're 20 minutes in the episode now.
Yeah, all right, let's take our first commercial break.
Remember when you were making out with your first girlfriend? And you came right as she touched your leg? It was me, Barry. I jerked you off at super speed so it'd seem like you nutted at just a woman's touch.
We'll get into mummies.
Yeah, we're talking about mummies. Mummies.
Mummies. So the first thing I did when I was starting to do some mummy research is I wanted to know because obviously it's funny. It's mummy, kind of like mommy or like my mum here. So I was like, why is it called mummy? And I thought it would be some like old English thing, but it actually is really easy. It's just that first of all, it's mum your business.
Really? I always thought that Brendan Fraser started the term.
But yeah, it actually is from the Arabic word mummiya, which just means an embalmed body. So it just means what it is. Like there's just a word called mummiya, and then we just shortened it to mummy when we transferred to modern English. So it's really just mummiya. So yeah, it's not that. It just happens to be that it's so close to an English term for your mother.
Your mother. And I always thought, also the classic mummy you think about all wrapped up. Probably the first one you ever saw was in Scooby-Doo. It's probably the first time I saw one.
I think so too, yeah. All wrapped up and no place to go, of course.
Yep. And really, it's just any preserved body.
Yeah, we're talking about, you think of mummies, you're talking about the Egyptian ones, but those aren't the only mummies, folks. I'll tell you that right now. Just a preserved body. Doesn't have to be embalmed.
I once tried to mummify a mole by keeping it in a box of salt.
Is that right? How did that go?
It didn't work because I did it wrong, but apparently you can do it that way.
Oh, yeah, just dehydrates the body.
Dehydrates
it. Mole jerky.
Well, maybe not jerky, but yeah, when I opened it up, there were a lot of like dead worms in there that came out of the mole, most likely.
Oh, yeah, that's fun.
Probably didn't have enough salt. Probably too small of a container.
Yeah, you need like a lot of salt.
To guess.
Yeah.
But let's just say I'm never going to try to mummify a mole again.
I'm glad to hear that because
I'm not going to make a mummy out of a molehill.
It's very gross and weird. You should mummify a bat, mummified bat. That'd be fun.
Well, it's a good mashup. Mummified Dracula.
That might come up in the podcast because I believe the mummy not only fought Dracula but Frankenstein back in the original cinematic universe, the Universal Monsterverse.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Brought to you by Blue Chew.
So yeah, obviously when we're talking about mummies, the first thing we think of is the Egyptian mummies, and that's the traditional mummy, which, I'm sure that people of the, early modern European persuasion that went in and tore apart the entire ancient world and raided it for all its goods, I'm sure, were familiar with the idea of preserving bodies, but it was a new idea, the Egyptian mummification process. They had to learn all about it. When they got there. So I wanted to actually, before we talk about Egyptian mummies, I wanted to talk about the process, if you don't mind, and then I'll let you go.
Oh, absolutely.
So here's the process. It goes a little something like this. First, the brain is removed. Sources disagree on the method, but this is the one that I learned, and I'm going to stick with this one. Some claim this was by the way of hook inserted through the nose. Others believe it was rod through the cranium. That was used to liquefy the brain. That one seems easier than through the nose. Since
much easier.
Through the nose feels like trying to clean up like a milkshake with like one of those little slushy spoons and trying to get every part of it. Like you'll never get all of it with that.
Not to mention, if you have it propped up the wrong way, all the brains are going to fall into the mouth because we know the nose and mouth are connected. The nose is not connected to the brain.
So that's not good. They probably have a bunch of brain matter left in their sinuses when they're mummifying them.
Yeah, but when they finally get that out, it must feel so good.
When you get your brain out of your nose. You ever blow your nose so hard, your fucking frontal cortex comes out? And then you become Phineas Gage.
I think that happened to one of the Kennedys, didn't it?
His head just did that. That's my favorite theory of John F. Kennedy's death. That just happened like that. No one shot anybody.
It just be like that sometimes.
Sometimes it just be like that. Yeah.
I watched I guess you'd call it a documentary on Discovery Channel years ago, probably 15, 16, 17, 18 years ago, where they deeply studied mummification, and actually, I think I've talked about it on the podcast before. Someone actually donated their terminally ill donated their body to be mummified.
That's cool.
There's
I don't remember you saying that. Yeah, that's really cool idea. I was going to ask you, did someone actually, they should do it, like, see if they can.
Yeah, I keep forgetting to look up a follow-up if anything ever came out of it, because I never heard anything else other than watching it.
Yeah, yeah.
But in that documentary, when they did like some kind of MRI or CAT scan something on a mummy, and found a little piece of matter at the very, very back of the skull, like when it's laying flat.
Yeah.
And they think that it's actually they found a way to dehydrate the brain instead of taking it out.
Oh, wow.
But still, they're not going to crack open a mummy and be like, well, what is it?
Yeah, it's too valuable. The MRI shit's really good, though, for studying mummies because, I mean, not only did they ruin 98% of all mummified bodies by, like, just misusing them, not using proper science, they actually used to sell mummy parts to people, and they would, like, grind up mummy dust, like the ghost song, and they would sell it. People were like eating mummy parts. It's disgusting.
It's instead of putting the mushroom powder in your coffee, they were like, give me some of that mummy dust.
The mummy dust. Yeah, that's disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we'll find pictures at some point. More work for you.
Yeah.
People used to sell them on the street, like street vendors in Egypt in the 1800s. Be like, mummies for sale. Like, I got these.
It's crazy. That's not like it was all just Europeans robbing them. It was also Europeans. It's like kind of thing where they're like the slave trade. They're like, they weren't just captured in nets; they were sold. It's like, yeah, but who was buying?
Yeah,
it's like the drug trade. Like, so you have to have consumers to buy it. You know, they're not making cocaine in Colombia for their health.
For your health.
It's for your health. Anyway, so no matter if they scooped it out through their nose with a hook or they used a rod to liquefy the brain. This is an 8-step infographic which I'll put up for the folks here. But the second step is which was then drained out via the nose. So no matter what, it's coming out the nose. They had 8 slides and they used one just for which was drained out via the nose. But it's a pretty good picture. It's a guy tipping his head back and being like, get that brain out. The skull was then filled with a mixture of tree resin and fragrances, which, I mean, that's pretty funny, which stopped the decomposition of any residual brain tissue, meaning they definitely left shit behind. And with the added benefit of suppressing the putrid smell. Yeah, the fragrances weren't preserving it. It was just making it so it didn't smell so fucking bad. The next step, the lumbar area was then sliced open and the organs of the abdomen, usually with the exception of the heart, were removed, heavily salted, like Dom said, and placed within canopic jars, which you've seen these. They have different like jars about the size of like a regular urn. And they have,
which they keep in the tomb if it's important enough mummy.
Yeah, and they have heads of like Egyptian gods on the top of them, and we all learn about this kind of stuff. And then the result is a cavity. The resulted cavity was then filled with a blend of aromatics. So it's just basically get all the organs out, put a bunch of smelly flowers in there, and make it so it's not so bad. Then all incisions were filled with salt called natron, which I believe is the original name for sodium. That's why it's Na on the periodic table.
That would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, natron. And at that point, it was disinfecting the wounds because it's all that salt is.
I think I found the chart you're talking about.
Yeah, it's on
or something more descriptive.
Yeah. Nice.
It says here that they had to replace the natron every couple of weeks, and it would take sometimes up to 40 days.
This is a commitment.
This is why salting process.
Yeah, people who were mummified in Egypt were not regular people. They were very wealthy, usually kings and such people like that.
Although they mummified a lot of animals too.
Sure. Well, those are also more important than the average person in Egypt.
All animals are more important than people, especially when they're cats or dogs.
Oh yeah. The body was put in a bed of natron, and for a period lasting, like you said, for 35 to 70 days. So yeah, it could take a long time to do this. The now dehydrated carcass, that's interesting. They call it a carcass, not a corpse. It's an animal now. Was washed, oiled, and covered with resin as adhesive. So they're just pouring all kinds of resin and fucking oils and shit all over them. At that point, it's time to do the mummy stuff. The body was wrapped in linen until it was fully covered. And then, depending on the social status of the deceased, the mummy may also have been adorned with certain pieces, such as a mask or shroud, before put into the sarcophagus, which is the big, beautiful coffin that you picture when you see a mummy in a museum or something like that, as such. And that's how you mummify somebody in ancient
Egypt. I mean, funerals are already so expensive for us now. Imagine if mummification was still a common practice. Like, I would bet it would be to happen.
I mean, the only extra cost would be the labor. You're already paying, like, people are getting mummified anyways. Every time people die, they pack them full of chemicals like embalming fluid, and they're preserving them. Then they were still mummifying people. They just don't wrap them in linen, and the organs don't come out. They just get full of a chemical that's resistant to bacterial infection, and they just stay there.
Yeah,
we're basically mummifying.
Yeah, but we're also not painting human faces out of gold onto our caskets.
Aren't we?
In most cases.
Sure, yeah, in most cases.
I mean, I did already pre-order my Kiss the casket for when I die in 72 hours.
No, you pre-ordered it then. Got that on Amazon?
No, you can't buy anything Kiss. It's gotta be real. You gotta get it from Gene Simmons himself.
Oh, it's Kiss like the band Kiss.
Yeah,
I thought it was like Kiss the Cook, like the apron where it's like I'm a hot dad. Yeah. Yeah.
That's way better, actually.
I thought that's what you were saying, but yeah, I got what you mean. Kiss casket, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
All it says on my casket is the Bicentennial Man.
Over and over again. And you're like, actually, he was the half-century man, if we're being accurate. He didn't last to the bicentennial of his life. But yeah, I mean, so that's Egyptian mummification. Of course, like Dom said, there's mummification, or mummies rather. It's just preserved bodies. They don't have to be done like that. There's other ways to do it, but that's the classic way that we're thinking. We're thinking of mummies, and a lot of people got mummified back then. A lot of people.
But yeah, and as you're saying, there are more than one, multiple different ways to mummify.
There's more than one way to skin a cat, which is a disgusting phrase we still use. I don't want to know.
I don't.
Couldn't we do like an animal that we like skin a deer? Like, I mean, I don't think we should hurt deer, but like people skin deers, I hope, more often than they skin cats.
Yeah. But another version that I read about a few years ago, that it's one of those things where it popped up and I was like, how do I not read about this? This sounds crazy. Mm-hmm. And that is a practice in Buddhist culture among monks, which is self-mummification.
That must be difficult when you run out of your hands. You have one hand. It's like when you're painting yourself into a corner, and like I'm running out of stuff to mummify.
It's like trying to put sunscreen on your back. You're like, dude, I'm sorry, you gotta help me out.
You can use your mouth to mummify your hand, but then how do you get your head? Because now your mouth's still exposed. You just like roll around. You know what I would do? I would take a bath like the guy from Dune. I would dip into a big sludge so it's all over my body, and then I would put myself in this position, and I would roll on the floor like a rolling pin until I was covered with mummy wraps.
mummy wraps.
Yeah,
cover yourself with that mummy dust. But no, self-mummification is honestly kind of pretentious. Because these guys being like,
it's kind of like self-immolation. It's like, we get it, you're on fire.
Because
we get it, China's taking over your country.
Some Buddhist monk thousands of years ago decided he was going to self-mummify himself and did it.
He decided to self-mummify himself?
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And so that now these other monks, I don't know if it's still happening this day, but there are stories in like the 1900s of people trying it.
Still, wow.
And of trying the method. And what you do is, once you decide you're going to do this, it's like the ultimate sign that you're
It's the ultimate high.
It's the ultimate high.
Been chasing that dragon my whole life.
Move over that guy that shows his asshole to the sun. This is the ultimate high.
Yeah, that guy's going to get mummified.
Insane.
Joe will not be putting that picture up. That guy's got enough press as it is with this stupid bullshit.
You start off for months slowly decreasing how much you eat, so you start losing body fat.
I think I've heard of this. Yeah.
And then it gets to the point where you're just eating like seeds and like tree sap.
This is so much harder than the Egyptian one where you just live like a king.
It takes forever. And then once you get so weak that you can barely, live.
Yeah,
you get put in this pine box like deep in the ground, but not buried yet, just in a hole.
Yeah,
and you do the legs crossed, arms crossed thing, and you sit there and meditate.
Wow, you meditate yourself to death.
And then months later, they go and check on you, and if you started to decompose, you failed, and you're not this holy.
Wouldn't you decompose no matter what? Because if you're still alive, your organs are still functioning, which means that's still fuel for bacteria.
There are examples where they did like, oh, that person's fucking mummified without being wrapped up. That's
wow,
crazy.
I would think that there's other factors that go into that help them successfully quote unquote.
Yeah, it's called divine intervention.
Okay. Yeah. I should have fucking guessed that. But that makes me think of two things. I'm glad you brought that up. Number one, there's a video. It's horrifying of like an old monk-looking guy. I mean, what about? But yeah, it's just a bald old Asian man, but he's wearing like a little like robe thing, and there's this little girl holding his arm, like shaking his hand. And he looks like a skeleton, like he's alive.
I've seen this, yeah.
He must be trying to do the self-mummy thing, because he looks like a mummy in real life. Like, I mean,
yeah, it's basically a skeleton with skin on it. So
yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if he was trying to do that.
The whole point of the process is break down, make sure there's no moisture left in your body when you die.
Gammy Num Nums would hate this.
Yeah, that Girl Scout loves water.
But the other thing I've
seen that video. Some people in that video, they're like, "Oh, this guy's 120 years old." It's like,
I don't think he's that old.
Doubt it.
Yeah, I don't think he's that old at all. I think he's younger than the oldest person alive. He just did the mummy thing because it makes way more sense. Obviously, even if you're 100 years old, you still have like nutrients in your flesh to make it so you don't look like you're a corpse. You don't actually look like you're already dead. But the other
until
thing
the day you die, cells are still reproducing unless you're trying to self-mummify yourself.
Yeah,
I said it again.
You could just say one or the other. ATM machine. Oh, I also learned about that today. You know how like ATM machine, it's like if you read it out, it'd be an automated teller machine where you're saying the extra thing. There's a name for that kind of thing where it's called RAS syndrome, which is
RESPECT.
Repeated acronym syndrome. So they made
they did it.
They did
had
it
to be on purpose.
Yeah. Oh, it was on purpose. Yeah. But I like how they did it to the actual term itself.
That's like putting an S and a P in the word lisp.
That's what I said when I found out. I go, that's lisp, where the actual thing you're learning about is the thing you can't do. Yeah, RAS syndrome. Glad I brought that up. But before we move on from the self-mummification, it reminds me of, and it was a Buddhist who did this. There was a statue. I don't know if it was made out of like stone or I think it was a metal.
Gold.
It was gold. So you know what I'm talking about. It was gold, and they had it for hundreds of years until they finally X-rayed it or MRI'd it or whatever, try to see what was inside, how thick the gold was. Found out there was a guy's body in it the whole time. It was a
dude the whole time.
That's crazy. What if, have we done this to the David statue? Maybe there's a hot dead guy under that.
Super hot guy. What about Venus? Maybe we can put her arms back on.
I don't know. We should be X-raying all these things, see if there's anything in there. Yeah. The Buddhist one can't be the only one, but
imagine that it took hundreds and hundreds of years for people to be so greedy to be like, well, how much gold is this?
How much is it really? What's it worth? Yeah.
Like, there's a person there. We can't touch that.
But it just became so much more valuable because it's the only version of a statue with a guy in it that we have.
You know what's actually surprising is who's actually in there? Jesus of Nazareth.
Oh my God, who saw that coming? In a Buddhist statue? You could tell because his hands were holy. Okay, that was fucking stupid.
Anyway. Everything you say is.
Yeah, but sometimes it's funny. But yeah, I thought that was. I'm glad you brought that up because I totally forgot about that gold statue with a guy in it. That's awesome. Well, there you go, another picture Joe put.
What do you think? What else is out there that hasn't been?
There has to be more because we're not, MRIing every fucking.
They found that with paintings in the past couple of years.
The next level.
MRI paintings. They're like, he painted over stuff.
Yeah, that is fascinating too. Yeah, because we are really all we know is the most surface level of whatever we can see, whatever's left behind, and. Only with modern technology can we look any deeper than that. I know they've MRI'd King Tut's and X-rayed his body too, which is how they found out that his legs were all fucked up and he died because he was like a fucking
an incest baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Generations upon generations.
Generation incest baby. Yeah, exactly.
Couldn't walk. Wasn't he also supposed to be like a teenager when he died too?
Yeah, I think he was like 13 or 12 or something. He was not like. He's only the most famous because he's like one of the most like.
Because put the picture up. The tomb with the curse of
all that good stuff. He's just most famous. He's not like he wasn't like a great king.
Actually, he's so famous because of Steve Martin. That's why.
Steve Martin definitely helped his cause.
Oh yeah, and Blue Lou Marini playing saxophone on that song. But we'll get to that later.
Yeah, and also there's a cartoon called Tuttenstein where King Tut comes back and he's a character. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. You forgot about, but even if I was supposed to say there's a cartoon that has that, but then it's zapped in my brain. It's called Tuttenstein. So there you go.
I definitely never knew the name of it, but I know of it. That's for darn sure.
Yeah, it wasn't on like Cartoon Network. It was on like Discovery Kids or something.
Discovery Kids. That makes sense. Trying to make it educational.
Trying to make it educational. But I remember he was a stinker. Like he was kind of a jerk, you know.
Well, yeah, he's royalty.
The other kids were like, "Oh, Tuttenstein, stop fucking killing my cat." He's like,
Tuttenstein, stop fucking.
Tuttenstein, please. He's like, "It's a living," you know.
It's a living.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's a trash can in the
Flintstones.
In the Flintstones, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Tuttenstein.
Yeah. We won't be putting the picture of that up. We'll still have the picture of the...
I gotta admit, looking at the pictures right now, it's not what I remember it being at all.
But that is the name.
But I do
right?
remember
I'm not
it,
mistaken. Yeah, okay. There you go, folks. Tuttenstein.
You can still watch it on Amazon Prime.
Wow, so someone's still like keeping this... I don't know anyone
Dude, it ran
ever.
for 5 years. What the heck?
Wow. I honestly, now that, I mean, you say you remember, but I don't know if I've ever spoken to anybody about this. It's just I remember it's like me and my parents, I was watching commercials for Tuttenstein. I don't think I ever...
I've definitely never watched a single second of it.
I think I've only ever seen commercials for it. Yeah, I don't think I ever watched this. I don't know anyone
like you're trying to watch
in
the
my
most
life.
extreme, and they're like, next, Tuttenstein. Like, shut it off, shut it off, shut it off.
Yeah, the most extreme. Now that we should do a podcast about that.
Oh yeah,
that show fucking
it's going on the
rules.
list.
I mean, that basically is our podcast. Top 10 biggest dung beetles. We owe a lot to the most extreme on Animal Planet. Yeah, hell yeah. But
hell yeah.
So yeah, do you want to take our first commercial break, and then we'll dive into all other kinds of types of mummies and stuff like that?
Let's do it, bitch.
Let's begin.
12? You couldn't be more than 5.
You're so fat they have to jack you up to take off your shoes.
Yeah, well, you're so skinny your eyes are in single file.
Well, you're so ugly your ears stick out to get away from your face.
Well, your mama is
Hold it, wait a minute. Don't bring anyone mother into this. She ain't here. If it wasn't for your mother, you wouldn't be here. So remember, when you put down one mother, you put down mothers all over the world.
So treat her right. Mother, I always love her. My mother, so treat her right, treat her right. M is for the moan and the miserable groan from the pain that she felt when I was born. O is for the oven with its burning heat, where she stood making sure I had something to eat. T is for the time that she stayed up nights and took my temperature when I wasn't feeling right. H is for the hard-earned money she spent to keep clothes on my back and try to pay the rent. E is every wrinkle I put on her face and every worry that I caused when I stayed out late. The last letter R is that she taught me respect, and for the room up in heaven that I know she'll get. Mother, there is no other like mother, so treat her right. Mother, I always love her. My mother, so treat her right, treat her right.
Treat her right, treat your mother right.
Oh yeah, refreshing, isn't it?
I wasn't fast enough. I was gonna do it too.
You see, you're just not on the same level as me, you know.
Yeah, I'm not in the basement.
For drinking, you don't drink as many beers. I'm not in the basement.
Actually, you know what? I am in the basement.
Because I'm in prison. I'm making toilet wine right now, baby. Which we still have to do sometime. I'm sure Wallace has a great recipe for toilet wine. I don't think he's ever been to prison. I mean, he's
well, I think it is canon that he has been arrested in Chicago.
Actually, I think we had a whole video where he got lost because he was running from the cops.
Yeah, so he's definitely been in trouble with the law. I don't know if he's been in prison, but he's definitely been charged.
He's never been caught.
He's been charged with crimes.
I probably shouldn't have him living in my house if he's a wanted man.
Yeah, I think it's aiding and abetting. That is also a felony.
Boy, I'm gonna have to talk with him today. He's downstairs. He can't hear me. He's in the basement of the basement.
It would be so great if aiding and abetting wasn't a crime, and you're like, I didn't murder anybody. I'm just hiding him. I didn't do anything wrong.
Like shit.
You're right.
What do you say?
That's what I'm saying. What do you think? I didn't do it. I didn't do anything wrong.
Do you
He's my
do
friend.
poison?
What am I supposed to do? He's my friend. You know what? Not guilty. I didn't know he was your friend.
It's like,
Do you love him? Very much
I
so.
just watched.
I'll
Fast
remind
and
you, you're
Furious.
under oath. Do you love him? I do. Free of charge.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do. You bastard.
Bastard.
Yeah, but we're not here to recycle Family Guy quotes like we always do. We're talking about
Usually it's an American Dad
mummies.
quote. Usually it's Dom.
Wow, look at that. Put it on the calendar. Joe Collins was the first one to mention American Dad tonight.
Only to correct you.
Yeah, but you still mentioned it, you son of a bitch.
It
I'm
counts.
trying to help you, motherfucker.
Well, guess what? I'm pulling out the yeah, but still.
Ooh, we need a yeah, but still button on this podcast.
Yeah,
We
but
need it
still.
now. We need it like yesterday.
We need it now and loud.
Yeah, but still.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, we're talking about mummies. Joe, do you have a specific mummy you want to talk about?
I do, because I didn't want people to get the misrepresentation that all the mummies have been found. I mean, for probably a good 50-year span, all mummies that were easily accessible by force were found, like in giant pyramids where you can see where the body will be. But we're still finding mummies to this very day. In fact, there was one found just 2 years ago, and it has been 4,300 years since it was opened up, this sarcophagus here. It was discovered 50 feet down in a burial site in Cairo, so part of a necropolis, which means which means like a city of dead. So like opolis means city in Latin, and necro is the prefix for dead, like necromancy or Dom's favorite, necrophilia. So necropolis means like a city of the dead, and it's basically just like a giant burial site for all that stuff. Not going to correct me. Perfect. We'll clip that.
I couldn't think of anything fast enough, so I just let it happen.
Yeah, good. If you can't think of anything good to say, keep your fucking yap shut. So anyway, this particular site has a lot of bodies, but this is the one that was the most notable. It belonged to a man named Mary, who was a senior palace official, given the title
I'm pretty sure he was part of the Fellowship.
He was, and he was given this title of secret keeper. I love how that would be a job back in Egypt. You're the secret keeper.
What do you do? I keep secrets.
Also known as the number one guy when you get invaded who gets put on the rack and they twist his arms off. Oh, the secret keeper. Let's see how good you are at your job. Let's find out. By pain compliance. So yeah, it was covered in gold leaf, so definitely worth a bunch of money. Worth more because of that. But he said that all the discoveries in that necropolis date within a 300-year period, and they just kept putting the bodies in there. And so yeah, basically, I just think it's cool that we're still discovering mummies to this very day. And even that particular site, which is called, I think I had the name of it before. I'll scroll up a
And no
bit.
one tried to eat this one. It's
Not
so
all?
new. They're like, we don't need to.
Yeah, it's probably going to be the best condition mummy because they're going to do a really good job of sciencing it up. Yeah. Hecashepis was the king that was found at the site, along with the secret keeper. So yeah, I guess there's probably more mummies there. They just, unlike the past, where basically all of history, whenever they found archaeological sites, they just would have people just diving in, going nuts. We remember we told the story about
take it all, and take it now.
The explorer, he literally ran through a pile of skeletons because he got scared and just destroyed all of them. You're like, ah! They don't do that anymore. They think not shovel, think toothbrush. Archaeology now, it takes years and years because they want to make sure everything's preserved, which is the way to do it. There's nothing like keeping something preserved for 3,000 years and then some dickhead puts a shovel through his neck and then that's that, So I think it's cool. Yeah, so they're still finding mummies, and hopefully next year we'll have another update for you for the next mummy they're going to find, because there's still mummies out there, and like we were talking about earlier, there's a lot of statues that we haven't x-rayed yet, so we don't know how many mummies really have.
That's true.
We don't know.
We gotta start x-raying every statue ever.
Yes.
Starting with that one at the Roger William Park Zoo.
What could be in there?
There could be a real horse in there.
We don't know.
Now, wouldn't that be a horse of a different color?
Yeah, if the statue, the human on top of the horse is not real, but the horse is inside the actual statue. That would be cool as hell. But inside the human statue, it's a gorilla, a baby gorilla.
It's a gorilla.
To fit in the body.
It's just Gonzo when he gets all stretched out.
My pants are full of starfish. So what do you got for us? A couple other mummies on.
I've got a very interesting mummy that I read about years ago and completely forgot about until we started doing research for this episode.
You know a very interesting mummy? The Octomom.
We have.
Remember her? Imagine that X-ray.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen that X-ray? It's horrifying. It's not an X-ray; it's an ultrasound, but it's horrifying.
I'll never forget.
It's like she's infected with aliens. She's got like 8 babies growing out of her. It's disgusting.
Terrible. Absolutely awful.
I think I think it turns out history has shown she's a bad person. You shouldn't do that.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, there was at least just a headline I never clicked on back in my high school days where it was Octomom's plastic surgery vagina or pussy ready for porn debut, and I was like,
yeah, I think
I'm not clicking on that one.
I think she did do porn. Yeah, that's not very sexy. Can you believe this woman had 8 babies at the same time? What's hotter than that? I don't know. Not something I'm into. But what it was that she, and I'll be quick about this. She did in vitro fertilization, or whatever. Like we have what happens is they put multiple embryos and they try to see if one is viable for birth. Yeah. And usually most of them aren't, so they say, okay, we'll put in a couple of them. Sometimes people have twins because they put so many embryos in to make it work. They put a bunch in, and then 8 of them were viable. And they'd be like, well, we're gonna terminate some of these before because right now they're just like zygotes, and you don't want to have 8 babies. And she goes, yes, I do. And they go, okay, I guess you want to be famous. And that's the story.
Yep, that's exactly what it was.
They couldn't make her do it. And it was like, what? Don't do this. So then you got to do porn because how you got a
TLC show out of it.
They did the same thing. Yeah. If you're going to have 8 babies at once, I guess you got to get famous because how else are you going to pay for it? Kids
the John and K+8 lady was a bad woman too because I remember
terrible mother.
That show used to be on in my house all the time.
Oh, yeah. My mom used to watch it all the time.
One of the kids got gum on their favorite teddy bear, and she was a germaphobe, so she threw the teddy bear away instead of trying to get. She's like, "Nope, it's done, it's gone. No. Got gum on it." It's like, try to get it off. Put it in the freezer. The gum will probably come off.
You know how bad she is because the dad's not even that cool of a guy, and they all like him better because their mom's such a bitch. Also, she was
cheated, and they like him better.
Yeah. That's how bad she is. But also, I mean, you got to respect where respect is due. OG. Standard for the Karen haircut was when she had the fucking. I mean, that is
she invented the piano key necktie.
She invented it. So anyway, I don't want to get too far off the thing.
Yeah, we never get off topic in this podcast.
Well, no one wants to just hear us read articles off the internet anyway. We're here for the color.
We're not doing that, Joe. We heavily research this stuff weeks in advance.
I used to.
Back when
it was COVID and I had nothing going on.
So this is a mummy. Called a lot of them have they put names on them so you can identify them better. This one's Lady Di or Dai. I don't know how it's supposed to be pronounced because it's from China.
Oh my god, they put Princess Diana in a sarcophagus.
That's what happened. She wasn't alive the whole time. She was just a mummy.
She was a mummy to Prince Harry and Prince guy, William.
Isn't it great that she didn't have to live long to see her son go bald in his 20s?
I can't
take credit for that as a
God that she got in a car accident. Oh, that's what it says. Yeah. I was gonna say she died young enough for us not to realize she's a real piece of shit royal like the rest of her family. Everyone loved her.
Yep, people are obsessed. She's the reason people are still obsessed with the royals.
You think so, huh?
Even the Lord,
because of the year after year worship of rich people that we. I mean, we have royals in America too. Ever heard of the Kardashians, or as people who don't act like they know them, the Kardashians? You ever heard an old guy say that?
I've never heard that.
Oh, these Kardashians. I've heard it by multiple people. They call them Kardashians. Like, yes, carnations. Okay, that's a flower. Carnation.
My son's going to prom. I'm going to buy him some Kardashians.
Yeah, I hate when people don't even try to pronounce stuff. It's like, that's not the word. Anyway, shut up.
In a fantastic film called Cannonball Run 2.
The sequel.
It's actually more famous than the first one.
It's like Empire Strikes Back. They did it better the second time.
Yeah. They're like, how are we supposed to? There's like a Saudi prince that's like funding one of the cars. Like, how are we supposed to? It's Dean Martin and Sammy Davis Jr. He goes, how are we supposed to compete with that? And Sammy Davis goes, well, we have royalty in this country too. And it cuts to them at a meeting with Frank Sinatra.
American royalty. Old blue eyes.
Lady Di was a mummy.
And she did.
In China in 1971. Very, very unique mummy because she was not wrapped.
Chinese mummy.
Yes, Chinese mummy. She was not wrapped in cloth or in a sarcophagus. She was still in a tomb, but it was a tomb. It was sealed with clay, so no moisture got in. The temperature stayed the same for like thousands of years.
That's wild.
She was preserved so well, her skin was still soft.
That is
crazy. You could
crazy.
still move her arms since they were still flexible. The tendons still moved.
They must have got on that fast. Like they must have been right on.
Yeah. Well, there was a fluid inside that they think was acted as like an embalming fluid. That they found a lot of salt.
It's probably mercury. They fucking love some mercury.
Probably. Oh, the Chinese love mercury.
Mercury. It's their favorite planet, and their favorite Sailor Moon sailor
character.
Yeah.
Is that the green one?
I don't know. I never watched the show.
And she was actually in such good shape, they were able to do a full autopsy on her.
Whoa! I never heard of this at all.
So she was. They dated her back to 168 BC.
What? They dated her? That's disgusting. Let her rest.
There was enough. No, obviously she was royalty, so there was enough.
Had to be
stuff around her, which is a very technical term. Stuff. But they were actually able to find out who she was and trace her lineage and be like, oh, this her husband was this guy and all stuff. But they were able to do a full autopsy. Found out that she had a heart attack at the age of 50.
Wow.
168 BC, preserved well enough, just in a casket.
And a heart attack is not like a we saw this coming. You know, we have 6 months to prepare her tomb.
No,
so how did they get it done so fast?
They don't think it was assumed non-intentional mummification.
Wow, they just put her in there?
happened. Perfect case scenario happened to be the way she got buried and where she was. Mummification.
And they were able to find out facts better because they had probably like, you know, clay pots and they could date to a certain time. And then they had the selfie with her and her husband going, She was fun when she was alive.
There was a chickadee China, the Chinese chicken in there with her too. They're like, okay, well that's tells you a lot.
Okay, that we're gonna cut out. It's not that kind of podcast. It's not that kind of podcast. You have to remember that. But yeah, that's why I never heard of that.
That's the real Lady Di. That's the only Lady Di I care about.
Yeah, exactly right. I thought that it was going to be because one of the things I thought about with the X-raying the Buddha statue was the terracotta army in China, obviously like life-size soldiers, and I thought maybe she was going to be encased like a terracotta, woman in her death.
Yeah.
And then
have they X-rayed any of those? They can't because they're surrounded in pools of mercury.
Well, no, they have though. They have. There's nothing in there. But I thought maybe she was going to be a terracotta pie. Hey, terracotta pie. Hey, terracotta pie. Hey.
Is there a perfect way of holding you, baby?
Banana terracotta pie. That's all I know about that.
That's all I know.
Yeah, you got to keep rocking because I don't have the list, so it's all you, baby.
All right, well, I'll go right to the Siberian Ice Maiden.
Ice Maiden. I thought we were gonna wait for the alternative mummifications, but I don't mind it. I don't mind if I do.
I don't know. We can do whatever then.
Nope. Do not listen to me. Go ahead, man.
All right, I'm just going right into it then.
Yes,
apparently, all the ones I have are not self mummification.
Yeah, I thought you were like it's King Tut. This guy, nope. These are all like crazy. This is what I want to bring up when I first looked up mummies. I'm like, oh yeah, a bunch of mummifications are unintentional, like this one you're about to say right now. Good ways to do it are, obviously clay, which I didn't think of, and then ice is a great way to do it too. Like you can still find biological matter thousands of years later as long as you keep it cold enough.
Cold.
It's cold, which usually means it's at high elevation because even the coldest places in the world at sea level still get warm enough to melt.
Yeah, it's gotta be cold enough where it's literally frozen all the time.
All the time for 1,000 years.
Like polar caves in New Hampshire, you could probably mummify someone there.
And I will one day.
I'd like to see you try.
I'll see if I think I can make it through the lemon squeeze and the orange squeeze anymore. I don't know. I'm getting a little bit gut. Squeeze. It was easy when I was a kid, but seeing Uncle Tim go through that thing was a struggle.
A house.
Also, Freddie Mulo, they almost had to get the fucking jaws of life to get him out of there. He didn't make it through.
No, really? I can't believe that.
He almost didn't make it through.
Oh yeah. It's a very nice Ice Maiden. Yeah, again, I mean, it's one of those things. It's super interesting, but when you really look at it, it's not that surprising.
I mean, It's
Buried in a
what it
place
is.
so
It's a
cold.
perfect circumstance just for it to happen. Like I said, unintentional.
It's so cold.
Did you
So
know anything about how she
preserved.
died? Because sometimes, because it's so well preserved, sometimes you can figure out stuff about like how they died and stuff. You know?
No,
Well,
I don't think so. I
there's
did
some
a
good
lot of
ones,
research on this. I didn't see anything about that.
Like the Iceman, obviously the famous. His name is Otzi. They got to find out a bunch of stuff about him, like that. His favorite color was blue, and he was gay.
Wait, are you the Iceman?
My favorite color is green. You fucking idiot.
Oh, you changed it.
Nah.
Last time I talked to you, it was blue.
Never been blue. It was red, then black, and now it's green. It's been green since I was like 13 or something.
Yeah, my favorite color is beige.
Yeah, just like your personality.
Yep, real beigeo, khaki actually. The Ice Maiden. She was royalty in lived in like around the 5th century BC.
Okay, so this isn't. I mean, maybe it's an accident again, but she is another royal person. I mean,
This one was definitely, maybe not completely intentional.
the only way to live on
they were
is
doing
to be
something.
rich. It's just like the
they
modern
found
day.
they assumed she was about 25 years old when she died, so very young.
All right,
She
slow down,
wasn't
slow down.
bombed with Pete.
What was her measurements?
I have no idea. Actually, she was 3 feet tall.
Oh, you're losing me.
No.
How old was she? I should have asked that first.
That's what I said. 25 years old.
Oh no, you just said that. That's what. And now I know why I did the joke, and I actually like roped around myself there. All right, sorry guys.
But she was actually embalmed with Pete, and why it wasn't
Who's
just
Pete?
like a mistake. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. I walked right into that one.
You're introducing a second mummy?
Different from Lady Di, she's not English, but also her brain and eyes had been removed.
Oh, okay.
before
So
she
that
was
that
buried.
was intentional. Sure.
And her eye sockets were stuffed with animal fur.
Really?
Yeah. Probably, just keep her warm, It's cold
Keep her
up
skull warm. Well, where do you keep them warm? The brain's gone. I think they were trying to keep the worms from crawling through her eyes because it is a bad look when the worms are
there.
in
Yeah,
her
that's
eyes.
true. But the worms are their money.
Mm-hmm. And so are the bones. That doesn't really work that way.
But yeah, they had this huge 3-foot-tall headdress on her, gold plating, gold carving, all of the... Everything's got to always be so
Her
fancy.
headdress was the same size as her height. That's insane.
Yeah, I definitely was prepared to say that she is the same height as her thing. I have no idea how tall she actually was.
Oh, okay.
Fancy dress made of wool and camel hair. But the most interesting thing about this one...
Camel hair? Where are we to this you're about to tell me.
Siberia.
Camel hair in Siberia. Holy shit.
Who knows what the trade routes were like back
They must,
then?
it must have been imported. It's probably very valuable to get camel
I'd
hair in
bet.
Siberia at the time.
But the interesting thing about this Ice Maiden, she had tattoos, and you could still see them because the skin was preserved so well.
Oh, I heard about this. Yeah, with the tattoos. That's amazing.
Yeah, the tattoos included a deer head, a spotted panther, and a leaping deer with a griffin's beak.
That is cool as hell. Very cool.
Yes.
Maybe that'll happen to you when you die. We'll be able to see all your cool tattoos when you're a corpse in the Siberian wilderness.
I see. Here we go. Now showing some of the imports here. The stitchings in her blouse were made from wild silk that may have come all the way from India.
Jeepers. They don't make silk in Siberia. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I don't think there's a lot of worms up there.
There's not a lot of
Actually,
worms in
there's specific
sub-zero
worms needed
temperatures.
For that.
Yeah.
And who's the sick fuck that decided, hey, we can make clothing out of that bug?
The richest guy of his generation.
Yep.
It's amazing. Yeah, that's
right.
fascinating.
Do you want to talk about some traditional mummies like I was supposed to?
No. Oh, do I want? No, I want you to
Yeah.
talk about it. And I'll just pipe in where need be.
New pipe in. All right, well, we're going to go straight into the big one then.
All right, big red one.
King Tut himself.
Tuttenstein incarnate.
As we, just like everybody poops, we all toot in common.
Okay, I'm gonna shut the podcast down.
I've been hearing that
now.
joke all my life.
No, I'm gonna shut the podcast down. It's been a good week. This is toilet wine. We're not doing the shot. We're not doing anything. It's over.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
But this week, researchers in England let us hear what a real mummy sounds like. That's the voice of Nessie Amun, an Egyptian priest who lived 3,000 years ago. Scientists were able to mimic Nessie Amun's voice by recreating his mouth and vocal cords with a 3D printer. It allowed them to produce a single sound. Nessie Amun was chosen for this research because his remains were well preserved during mummification, and also because there are inscriptions in his coffin about his hope to speak again after death, a desire from the ancient world fulfilled by modern technology.
Now that sound obviously.
I was reaching the limit of how many times I could hear it,
well,
right?
Isn't that what a mummy does?
Between 8 and 10.
King Tut is, I've talked about it a little already with the Tut and Stein, that fantastic show, which I might have to go watch that whole show.
We talked about the incest, the family tree,
we did.
and all that, yeah.
And,
hey, you know what? This family tree looks like a wreath. That old chestnut.
I guess I've never heard that before.
Mm-hmm.
I doubt you thought of that.
I did not. I thought I was referencing a thing that you might have already heard. Yeah, it's
a good one. It is.
Yeah, I like it. It's
one.
Yeah.
There's a few interesting things that we can talk about other than what we've already talked about.
I should hope so. Dom, I really hope that's the truth.
We were wrong about the age in our initial discussion. He wasn't
12?
19. So
okay,
still very young.
He was 19, but with the body of a 13-year-old because of malnutrition and poor genetics.
13-year-old. That was like me. Yeah,
I thought you were gonna say something way funnier and way creepier.
I decided against it, if you know what I mean.
I don't mind if you hold it against me.
That brings me to a very interesting
That's a classic line. You should use that in dating. Be like, if I say you have a great body, would you hold it against me? I mean, that is a classic line.
Anything you say will be held against you. Titties.
Precisely.
Yeah. While we're talking
about... Hey, folks, if you don't like that kind of shit, you know
what?
Why are you here? Stop. Yeah, exactly. Stop listening to the podcast. It's over. Yeah. This is what you're in for. And also, you're in to learn.
Listen to NPR.
Yeah.
Now, just like one of our most famous men of history, Rasputin.
Oh yes, Rasputin.
King Tut has some interesting facts about his penis.
Oh, let's not get into all of that. This podcast is not that kind of podcast.
Because
we don't talk about penises.
Totally intentional what they did this. There's no way it was an accident. He was mummified with his penis in an erect position.
He was mummified penis first.
We want this to be the freshest.
And then we go out from there. Yeah. So wow, that's interesting.
Imagine it's 1922.
How did they keep it hard? I mean, I'm asking for a friend.
I mean, maybe a tongue depressor. Do they have those 3,000 years ago?
I don't know.
Actually,
they put a reed up there?
I think that was a tongue depressor. All right, say ah. I'm going to just stick this in here.
Say ah. Say raw.
Say raw. Rasputin.
The most ambitious crossover in sarcophagus history. Rasputin.
Imagine the shock on these poor Englishmen's faces.
Imagine the awe.
1922, after they already broke into this, talk about grave robbing.
Talk about it.
That's the whole reason why they sealed them up like this. Not only was, I'm sure, religious, like, oh, we don't want anyone to get in. I don't know what I'm saying.
It was so that they could preserve his erect penis? I don't think I'm following you.
I'm not following me. I'm spiraling right now.
You other than spiraling, I don't want you to be enacting Ripto's rage on the podcast. We'll have to shut it down early.
All right. So you're the dragon right now. So 1922, this group of explorers are grave robbers.
Yeah,
I just think it's really funny to call
they're
them
exploring
grave
by
robbers.
taking everything. Yeah.
They break the seal. Tutankhamun's. Why am I blanking on all the words I'm trying to say right now? Tomb. There's the word.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Aye.
Tomb Tutankhamun.
They go in. They find the sarcophagus. They cut it open, and what do they find? A mummy with a boner. Imagine how shocking that must have been.
That must have been shocking. Yeah. First of all, it's a mummy. Second of all, he's ready to rock. That's gotta be surprising.
Talk about morning wood. They finally woke him up. He's like, "Oh, here we go."
But it's spelled like when you go to a funeral.
He's in mourning.
In mourning wood.
In mourning of himself. He died.
Has anyone done that joke? They must have done that joke. Morning wood at a funeral.
Has to have been.
Yeah, I can't be the first, and I won't be the last either.
But actually, and King Tut is one of the most studied mummies.
Oh,
where they actually they were able to extract RNA from the mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell.
Dude, that's the real shit. Where you can get the biological matter, like the different Otzi,
and
the
they were
Iceman.
able to link him to other mummies they had found to complete the family tree that is our Christmas wreath, like you said.
yeah. That's wild.
All because it was preserved so well. And the Egyptians were not like, all right, well, this is why we got to do it, so in 4,000 years people can find out who we were.
Yeah, no, that was not why.
They were like, we just got to make sure, our young boy can make it to the other side very, very well.
So it was a happy accident. A lot of times people preserve, much like the story of Lady Di or Lady the other one. It's like they didn't do it on purpose so we could find it, but because they did that, now we know so much more about them. So actually, they were better equipped to help him live on through his death than they actually thought, because the thing they were doing wasn't doing shit.
Yeah,
they were
better preserving him when he's dead than they were keeping him alive.
Yeah, well, that's for sure. But I mean, just like if you want him to keep living on eternally, you've accomplished that, but you didn't do it for the reason you thought it would. You thought he was going to go through, and meet Set in the afterlife and to go to the Duat, and but that didn't how happen. What actually happened is that he's in the Museum of Science now. We actually know all about him. It's pretty wild.
I applied to the raffle to be able to get tickets.
To see it,
raffle's not the right word. Lottery's the right word. Because when something that big is on tour, they don't well, here are the tickets. They go, enter a lottery. If your number gets picked, then you can buy it.
So you still have to pay for it, but you have to win the. They did that for
chance.
For Hamilton, the musical, for 10 years had a lottery to buy tickets to.
And I mean the such a cool. I don't know. Again, more work for you, if you want to do it. The picture of the sealed tomb. How it's just clay and rope across the two door handles, but the way they did it, it almost looks like two hands holding it shut with the rope between it.
Yeah, I'll try to find that for sure.
I can't imagine looking at that and being like, all right, time to break this. I'd be like, look at this. This is what we should be saving. Who cares what's in there?
But you already took a 5-month boat ride from England.
You're hundreds of feet into this stone pyramid.
Yeah, you're not going to give up now.
No one's been in for 2,000 years.
Yeah. Well, luckily now
no one even knows when he was buried. They probably didn't even know how they got built.
No, yeah, exactly. It's wild in that way. I love that about Egypt when those explorers, quote unquote, first got there. They asked people in Egypt when was this the Great Pyramid built? How it was built? They're like, we don't know. It's just been here for so long. It's just always been there. We don't even know how it was built or anything like that. The history has been lost to us who live here.
Are you kidding? Yeah. The average Egyptian then, if you show them the hieroglyphs, they'd be like, I don't know. We use words now. We have language now. We don't know.
And also, I would think that, for sure. And also, ethnically, I think a lot of people who live there would not. Their entire culture didn't live in Egypt at the time. But yeah, it is fascinating. I love that aspect of Egypt, that it's so old. Even people who live there are like, we don't know. It's just been here.
Yeah, and also, by the way, Michelangelo laying on his back, painting the Sistine Chapel, move over. Impressive. This is hundreds and hundreds of feet into stone buildings, just using torches to basically make a mural along the walls inside these tombs. Imagine what happens if you run out of paint? You're like, oh shit, it's like fucking 35 minutes to walk out of here.
Yeah,
go get more paint. I guess I'm done for the day.
It's your only job. Dude, imagine if your torch goes out. Fuck me.
Yeah, I just gotta wait until someone else comes in. Yeah, I gotta wait until someone comes in to, get the ball press ready.
The what?
I don't know. I was
just making sure I didn't miss something.
I'm telling you, my work. I just can't make up thoughts today. It's really driving me
You're
crazy.
doing great. You're doing great.
There's one more thing I was going to say. I can't remember. Oh yeah, when they get into there to take the sarcophagus out or to just look in the tomb, they're not doing it right away. They're not just pulling everything out right away.
We're just looking. It's like a little kid. Can I look at it? You can look with your eyes, not your hands. I'm going to look at Tutankhamun's tomb with my hands.
I'm looking at Tutankhamun's tomb with my dick. What if we touch tips?
Oh, dude, touching Tutankhamun, imagine that.
Dies immediately.
I'm Eskimo Brothers with a
really
dead girl from 3,000 years ago.
Because King Tut wasn't gay. He's like, you touched tips with me? I'm going to kill you now.
Actually, do you know when they did the RNA, they found out he was gay the whole time?
Because it's genetic.
Yeah, exactly. They genetic sequenced him and they figured out actually gay.
But it's by this point, 1922, I'm assuming maybe more in the 1800s, and they were just like pulling shit out as fast as they could. Like, we're just taking this.
It was also when they found it, the Tutankhamun's tomb, unlike a lot of other ones, wasn't grave robbed to that degree. But most of the ones that they found when they started taking mummies out, they were already stripped bare because regular people had gone in and stolen the jewels and left, and they didn't want to take the body. The body, you can't sell the body on the street, but you can sell a fucking jade necklace or sapphires or whatever. So most of the tombs, I think that was one of the things that was impressive about Tutankhamun's tomb is that like it was so well protected that it hadn't been grave robbed, probably because of that cool ass door and all that stuff, you know.
Could have been. Yeah, maybe they're like, this is not worth the effort to get into this thing.
Yeah, and also we haven't brought it up yet, but the curse of the pharaoh.
The curse, yes. But they actually built wooden scaffolding inside the tomb so they could get to different levels better.
Nice.
Because it's a very well photographed tomb from when they first got there.
Nice.
The pictures are great. Someone actually just colorized all the pictures, I think a couple of years ago, and I looked at them. Incredible.
That's what they should call.
Back then, everything was in black and white. I mean, how did they know what colors to make?
I was gonna say that's what they call DEI now, colorizing.
Colorize. We're gonna colorize our staff.
It's actually an apt comparison, like the Pleasantville, where it's like, no, everyone go back to black and white, like old 1950s America. No more colorizing. I fucking hate the American government right now.
It's fantastic.
Anyway, we're not gonna get into all that, but yeah, Tutankhamun. We would be remiss, as I often say on the show, if we didn't mention the most famous mummy in the world, King Tut.
King Tut.
Exactly. We also have we have Ramses.
My last thing on King Tut that I want to talk about is mentioned a little before, Saturday Night Live, Steve Martin doing the King Tut song.
You mean the first commercial break that we already did?
Yeah, so now
I'm definitely gonna play that.
I was hoping you'd put it in.
I hope they won't flag us for that because it's not really a song; it's more of a.
I don't think so. I mean, it's. I don't think so. There's only one way to find out.
Yeah, I'm gonna
you're gonna be dealing with it, not me.
Yeah, we'll see if it works or not. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about Ramses?
Well, Ramses is the best. No, I thought that I want to bring up Ramses. I mean, first of all, Ramses the Second. I don't know about Ramses the First at all, but Ramses the Second, famous from this book that you might have heard of called the Bible.
The B-boy.
He's AKA Moses's stepbrother. I guess adopted brother.
Adopted brother, probably more realistic.
AKA Eskimo brother. You know he was getting it in with those Egyptoids.
Those Egyptoids? Is that a technical term?
I think it's okay to call them that because it's not a slur yet.
What are they going to say? They're dead.
Yeah, what are they going to say about all the alive Egyptoids? But that was another unique tomb where they were able to find a bunch of cool shit in there. And I'll bring up the his pyramid because we're not talking about pyramids, but I do want to show some pictures of pyramids because although they had the same concept, they were all built differently on the inside. I think it's probably because like as technology went on, they're like, oh, this is a better way to do it or a less good way to do it. But like they kept changing the insides of it, and some of these tombs were like built in the later years as like the mercury pits in China, where it was like they didn't just build it to be decorative; they built it to be like we were trying to keep people out, like a security system involved in all that stuff. So I'll pull up Ramses' tomb here as well, but I got to bring him up because not only is he a interesting historical character, also great in the movie The Prince of Egypt, but also a great wrestler in Nacho Libre. So all of the above.
Ramses is the best. Ramses is the greatest.
Yeah, so that'll be the end song probably, but yeah, pretty cool.
So one of the interesting things about King Ramses, we talked about it a little bit.
Yeah.
Where King Tut's was so rare that it hadn't been touched at all.
Mm-hmm.
As where King Ramses II, his tomb got touched.
Yeah, they
before
gutted it.
Our modern record taking.
Yeah,
happened.
so let's not get twisted. Europeans raided the shit out of these places, but like I said earlier, they weren't the first. A lot of these places got raided way earlier than that because the security wasn't there.
If the tomb was, or maybe not even built, used in 1300 BC, do you think 2,000 years passed before anyone was like, let's go in there?
Yeah, and by the way, people were broke as hell. They're broke now. I'm broke now. Joe, you
broke
know
now. Yeah, so the people were definitely willing to risk their lives. Be like, I know it's dark in there. There could be anything in there.
Yeah.
If the legends are correct,
well,
I can find myself a ruby, I can be set for life.
Exactly. It's like, would you risk it to make what $2 million in today's money? You get the biscuit. You must risk it. But yeah, I can understand why grave robbers. It's like, how dare they? Like, how? I mean, to desecrate the graves of the dead. It's like it's a dead king. He's all his riches that could go to the people, or at the very least, just kept in circulation of the royal family, are in a hole in the ground. Get the shit out of there.
Yeah,
easiest mining job ever. They probably had to mine for 20 years to find a ruby that big. They can do it in one afternoon if you have the right torch and the right gumption. Now give me those fucking goods.
The gumption. Yeah, so his tomb had been ransacked.
Yeah.
When
ransacked even.
When exactly? I don't know. Ask the Pope. He knows everything.
Talk to the Pope. He knows everything.
You're going to be busy editing this episode.
And we're so glad to hear he's doing better.
Yeah, Ramses was grave robbed too. By the time they actually found, in 1881, they found
I think most of them
him,
were.
And were able to be like, oh, well, this is who it is. He was in storage somewhere, like not at a museum, just like someone that was collecting.
Oh, really? I thought they found him there.
Oh,
shit, yeah.
And he was in just a regular, plain old
T-shirt.
I love New York.
He's Donald Ducking it in a New York shirt.
He's Donald Ducking it. All right.
Nice.
I will admit, I did get this wrong a little bit.
Yeah.
In the 11th century BC. 11th century BC.
That means
look at this. I'm doing the Dylan thing. I have no idea what I'm talking about as I'm reading.
No, that means it was 1,100 years before Christ.
Yeah.
The BC thing's hard because you think it's the time, but it's negative time, where it's like
it is negative time.
Yeah.
And century is already tough. It's already one off than it actually is.
It's negative time, Harry.
Right. But they were the Egyptian priests they must have been like, things weren't going as well anymore for Egypt. So some of the priests
and Dom, you'll know the answer to this. What's the name of the Egyptian priests? What were they called?
Rabbis.
No. It's Steve Martin and Martin Short in The Prince of Egypt. That's what they're called. I don't
remember what the word is.
Well, me neither, but I thought you'd know. I'll give it a Google while you do this.
I really thought you were setting me up to be like, wow, you're an idiot. It's called this.
No, I thought you'd know the answer for me.
No, I don't remember. But they started moving the royal mummies around, being like, well, things aren't doing too great here. People are going to be going in there. Mm-hmm. At the very least, let's keep basically what's the word for it? Deities at that point.
Yes.
Where they're like, these are very special. They're not gods, but like this whole thing. They're now up with the gods.
Up with the gods. That's what I always say.
That's the name of my upcoming album. By the time in 1881, they found like, oh, this is Ramses II. He was just a regular, plain old sarcophagus, like tucked in the corner somewhere. Nothing
tucked in common.
Tucked in common. Yeah, King Tut with the erection, he couldn't tuck it. Not worth bringing it back up, Dom.
Worth putting at the end of the episode, though. That's for sure.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't
were
find
able
the
to
name
figure
for
it was him because as he moved around from place to place, they literally like sort of tracked his journey on his wrappings.
Really?
And they were able to read that and be like, oh, this. And then I'm not saying like, oh, in 1749 he went to Paris.
Muhammad was here.
This is still thousands and thousands of years old. But like he got removed from his tomb and got put here, and then he got put there. And that's how they're able to know that this, what could have been just a standard mummy that would have been on the street corner in the 1850s, is, oh no, this is King Ramsey II.
This is the guy from the book you all love so much.
This is the guy. He let the people go eventually.
He had his arm twisted a little bit.
In the end, not a bad guy.
No, he just had to get his son murdered by God to figure out to do the right thing. And he didn't die by drowning because he was such a wimp. He didn't even go into the Red Sea and get crashed.
I know. He sent other people in.
Yeah,
going across the Red Sea. All right, now so Joe, cool. Clip in the entire movie, The Prince of Egypt.
Okay, that's definitely gonna get flagged.
I don't know. I don't think DreamWorks cares.
I think the songs are probably worth millions of dollars to them. Those songs are
they're not on my phone for nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Those are worth money. You can't put those songs in there. I put the whole movie in, but instead of the songs, it cuts to me playing the tin flute. Let my people go.
I went with Deliver Us.
Val Kilmer is a talent.
Oh, he's fantastic. He's the voice of God also. Now
did you know that he played Moses on Broadway too in a separate show?
Really?
Yeah, he just liked playing Moses. Wow. Isn't that weird? I learned that this week.
Playing Moses.
I learned this week on a
Maybe he actually just is the reincarnation of Moses.
Yeah, he's the Dalai Lama of being Moses.
He's the Dalai Lama of Moses, of Mosai.
The Dalai Camel, if you will. I'll take a lap for that one.
I'm sure. Hey, we're all idiots. All two of us. The pictures of Ramses. Folks, if you're still with us, thank you very much.
Hopefully I can find a cover. You know what I'm talking about, folks. It's one of the biggest bangers in the 20th century. Deliver Us.
So good. It's so fucking
It is up there for top openings of movie where we must have talked about it. Come on.
And my last favorite little thing about King Ramses, his mummy, because he's completely unwrapped now. He looks like an old dude. It looks like just like there's still so much shape to his face. You'd be like, that's what he looked like. They believe he was 90 years old when he died.
Holy shit! Oldest guy in the world at the time. How do you live that long, then? That's what it believes to me. Like, obviously, on average, medical science nowadays can keep most people alive longer, on average. But there still was people in the ancient world that could live that long just by pure luck. Like, they got the lucky streak genetically, whatever else. Because, like, I always thought back in the day, like, people like, the average human lifespan is 30 years old. Like, oh, wow, everyone died at 30? No. 100 babies died at 0, and one guy died at 100, and it averages out to 30. Like, people did live a long time.
Oh, yeah.
How else would you have wizards?
Of course. And there's no such thing as a young wizard. You have to be old. Everyone knows that.
No. You must be. You must be old.
My favorite fact about Ramses.
You hear that, Harry Potter? You piece of shit. You're a witch. You're a witch, Harry.
You're a witch. Are you a lion, a witch, or are you a wardrobe?
Yeah, this is what kind of man you really are. The Sorting Hat, he's like, wardrobe.
Like, shit! God,
the whole time he's holding people's clothes.
It cuts back for 40 years holding people's clothes.
Wardrobe house.
Actually, the only thing worse than that is lion. You just get thrown into a pit of lions, so like, hey, we gotta feed him somehow.
Oh, I don't like that. I like when you become a lion. You have to, like, act like a lion all day long.
It's the horse girl version of Hogwarts.
Yeah, you're crawling around on all fours.
Everything is lion.
Eating raw meat all day long.
Wait, are you saying you've ever seen a horse girl eat a sugar cube? Because that would be hilarious to see.
I've seen her eat a carrot. That's not for the podcast.
My favorite
carrot, but still.
Little fact about Ramses. Because I knew this. This is why the podcast is so great.
I knew you were going to love Ramses as your favorite guy.
I completely forgot this. Mm-hmm. And then, totally without looking at anything on my computer at all, I remembered this.
Right.
In 1975, a French physician And I'm not lying. I didn't know about this. I just didn't know all the details.
Why did you stop at French physician? And I'm not lying. I know a lot of French physicians. No, you don't.
He was in Egypt, in the museum in Cairo, looking at, like, examining the corpse of Ramses II. I don't know why I'm saying second still half the time.
I like when you say the second.
He was looking at him and he was like, "Oh, this is like." He discovered that it was at.
Wait a minute, this guy's hot as hell.
Actually, he needs to come back to France right now.
Yeah, and not even though his penis wasn't mummified erect, he can still get it.
He's like, "Hey, I think I can help with this mummy really quick. Can you bring back to my workshop?" Oh, I gotta swing by that museum in Russia first.
Unfair French physicist stereotypes on this podcast. They don't all love mummies. They don't all love guys.
Breaking news: French physician attaches penis of Rasputin to the corpse of Ramses II.
The most ambitious crossover in archaeological history. So anyways, what did he do?
He was looking at the body. He's like, "Oh, this thing. This is subject to infestation of fungus. We need to, like, basically embalm it. Probably is mostly what it was.
Yeah.
Because think of it. It's, the most mummies you see, they're still wrapped up.
Yeah, you got to keep it preserved.
At least a little bit. This guy's, he's free balling.
He's raw dogging it into the world.
So he was like, the only way to do this.
You guys know when you wake up in the wintertime and your house is cold and you come out of the sheets? It's that times 1,000. It's 91,000.
He goes, I can help this. I can make it so it doesn't happen. But he needs to come to France for me to do it. And Egypt was like, all right, preserve him. There's only one problem. It's the most
we want Barabbas. Preserve him.
There's only France is such a peculiar country.
Sure. Because
it was human remains, he needed a passport to get into the country.
No, that's a weekend at Ramses.
Weekend at Ramses II.
He's got sunglasses and a beret. This is my grandpa.
So you can look. You just type in King Ramses passport. His passport, it's out there. It says date of birth. ... 1303 BC.
That's got to be a record for the oldest person who's ever gotten a passport. Easily.
Yeah.
By 1,000 years.
Almost any physical ID.
Yeah. That is phenomenal.
Place of birth, ... Nationality, Egyptian. Sex, male. Date of issue.
Wait a minute. Are they sure he's Egyptian? A lot of guesswork here.
Date of issue, the 9th of March, 1974.
Nice. Expiration date?
Same date, 1981.
Profession? 3,000 years ago. He expired some time ago. Profession?
There's a listed profession on his passport. It says king. In parentheses, deceased.
Okay, let's make sure we know this is not a real guy.
Arab Republic of Egypt.
Very nice. Yeah, let's not get it twisted.
For a 3,000-year-old mummy.
If it didn't say deceased, it'd be like, whoa, what is he? What is he? The oldest man times 3,000 years? What are we supposed to think about this? And also, you owe us back taxes for 3,000 years. I know your income meets the criteria to be taxed, even in France.
Yeah, you still need to pay up for that. I mean, do you have any idea how much space that pyramid takes up? The property tax on that?
Exactly. He's like, well, all my jewels are gone. Well, that pyramid's worth something, isn't it? Reverse mortgage that shit. You owe us money.
Another senior citizen sucked in by reverse mortgages.
Ramses II is a part of a reverse mortgage scheme to pay back taxes on property tax.
He saw Tom Selleck in a commercial and he just had to do it.
Deliver us from IRS debt.
Imagine there's this new French law. All senior citizens coming into the country must wear a life alert. Does that include Ramses II? You're damn right it does.
If he had that, maybe he wouldn't have died at the ripe old age of 91 years old. The oldest man to ever exist for probably 1,000 years.
Cause of death, general badassery.
No, General Badassery was buried alongside him as one of his most trusted confidants. Next to the secret keeper.
Yeah, so that's probably how that works. You're a secret keeper. Your king dies. They go, come into this room. They bring in another guy. Go, tell him everything. Then they kill the old secret keeper.
Yeah. It's like the nuclear codes in America. Like someone always has to know it, but not too many people.
And like he's telling all these stories. Like, all right, they're writing everything down for the new. Not writing down. New secret keeper's memorizing it.
He was writing it down,
and then he's writing it down. All of a sudden, the old secret keeper starts going. And that's when the ships came out of the sky and they just cut his throat and go, well, that's all the secrets he has.
Let's get into the real good stuff. No, we will not.
And the new secret keeper goes, wait, are you the real secret keeper? And he goes, shit, now I gotta kill you too.
And that's why they found 10 skeletons in the tomb next to Ramses, perfectly preserved next to 10 skeletons.
Each one, it's just a line of people stabbing the next one.
Yeah. They all had a screwdriver in their hand from the last guy they stabbed.
And they're not afraid to use it.
They're not. They're clearly not.
And then, like, the dumb fucks that discover it in, like...
Well, we don't have to use language like that.
Look at it and just go, wow, these grave robbers all died holding screwdrivers.
I can't believe they were trying to build an IKEA kitchen set inside the fucking tomb. Any real grave robber would know that you use an Allen wrench to do that. These are amateurs.
Allen wrenches are... I used an Allen wrench today, in fact. That's how...
You know what they call it in Europe? Hex wrench. Sounds way cooler than Allen wrench.
Yeah. Allen wrench isn't its official term. It is called a hex wrench or a hex drive.
That's the real thing, yeah, hex wrench. You haven't seen the show Arcane, but you'd know that that's even cooler if you saw that show.
I have not seen that show. What is that? I don't even think I know that show.
It's really good. It's a great example of things that Joe is like, this is going to be lame, and I watch it and I'm like, nope, it's so good it convinced me that it's good. But that's not important. No. I think what we should do
Hold on,
now...
do you want another example really quick of something that the name isn't what it actually is?
I do.
You know what a bulldozer is?
Yes, I do.
What describes to me what a bulldozer is?
It's a large industrial machine with treads and then a large plow on the front that can be lifted and lowered. And its purpose, for what I know, is to move material that's very heavy. So either pushing it over or pushing it around and things like that such. Am I close?
Yeah, the action is correct. But I learned this from working on equipment.
Mm-hmm.
The blade on the front, that's the bulldozer.
Oh, so the
machine is called a crawler tractor.
Well, that's cool, I guess.
But there's no other use for it other than having the blade on the front. So
it becomes
the whole thing.
Those
that's why
bills.
No one calls it a crawler tractor. But like,
yeah,
if you go to order a Cat D7 bulldozer and you go like look it up, it actually calls it a crawler tractor with a bulldozer attachment.
Yeah, so the bulldozer is just the attachment.
Yeah,
like a plow.
That's the bulldozer.
If you buy a plow, you're buying the actual device, not the truck.
Yeah, I'm not going truck driving with the plow on the front of it. I'm going plowing.
Right. So actually, in retrospect, the killdozer should have been called the kill crawler tractor with bulldozer attachment.
You know it, baby.
We should do a podcast on the killdozer. That is
absolutely.
And it should be a podcast on people turning anarchist and not fucking it up too
So
badly.
I'll talk about falling down the entire time.
Pretty much, yeah. And I'll talk about the killdozer guy, and we'll meet in the middle.
Killdozer guy.
Yeah, if you guys didn't already know that story, you'll tune into a new podcast. I know actually a couple stories of people, like a Guy Fawkes style, just being like, you know what, I've had it, and then just sacrificing their life to stick it to the man, you know?
Stick it to the man.
Yeah, man. Never underestimate a bored, old, handy white guy who's mad at the government. They are committed to stuff. I'm telling you right now. That's a teaser for a future episode.
I'm going to fuck on you.
You want to fuck on me? All right, let's take our last break right now.
Let's do it.
I am singing at the party. I am singing, it's my turn to sing at the party. Everyone is dancing, happy party. But Ramses is not dancing, he does not dance at the parties. Ramses #1, he knows the secrets of desire. Ramses Ramses is the one, he puts the people all on fire. Ramses.
Didn't even see the thing. Oh, there we go. There. Oh, see now, this time I didn't have one ready. But you know, that's okay because the Offspring are going back on tour. It's the Supercharged Worldwide in 25 is the name of the tour.
Wide.
It's the Offspring. And you know, they're not, obviously it's not just them. There's other bands playing. They're not going to play for 3 hours.
Of course.
Jimmy Eat World.
Fuck yeah.
And Newfound Glory.
Oh my goodness, there you go. I thought they'd have Less Than Jake on the ticket, but apparently not. They didn't make the cut.
I think Less Than Jake is too ska for them.
Too ska, more boss tones, less Offspring. I think they definitely had a tour where it's 311 and Offspring, and Andrew went to that
311
show.
slides into. They pair up with so many bands. It's crazy.
Because I remember Andrew being like, "I'm gonna go to the show. You want a ticket?" And I was like, no. But have fun. I think it would have been a cool show, but like I was like, I'm not gonna pay $90 as a broke teenager for Offspring and 311. I don't like them enough. But
you know, it was a few years ago. 311 and Incubus, and I was like, oh, I mean,
I'm sure they're probably
like,
good
I
shows,
like,
but it's like I don't like them enough. Like it doesn't take me over the edge of spending my money on something like that.
The only way I'd ever I'd go see Incubus, but it'd have to be like. Oh yeah, they're opening for the Red Hot Chili Peppers. But okay,
yeah. But because they're too famous to be a cheap show, and not enough my thing to be like willing to pay like $100 to go see Incubus.
They can't have a headline tour, so they always do co-headlining with like 311 or T.
Yeah, which is like okay if that's your thing, but I've never been into that music enough to like I'll listen to it, but I don't want to pay like $100 and then $100 of parking.
They're not like Nickelback
trains.
selling out the Xfinity Center every time they come around.
No. And we can't all be like Nickelback.
No.
That's for sure.
We can't all have the wonderful name of Chad.
No, we can't all be Chads. So.
All right. I believe we're not going to end quite yet when talking about...
We want to talk about
somewhat good music.
The last type of mummy that's very famous, but we haven't mentioned yet. We talked about natural causes preserving bodies over thousands and thousands of years. And the ice does pretty good. Salt is good. Clay apparently works pretty well. But there's one thing we haven't talked about. Dom mentioned it briefly when he was talking about...
Thank you very much.
That's right. That's right. We're talking about stomach acid, the best preservative of all. No, we're talking about the bog, baby. Bog bodies. Including...
Bog down in the Valio.
Pete Boggs, which is the guy you were talking about earlier, and we're back.
Pete Boggs. He's Wade Boggs' brother.
Exactly. So the natural chemistry of bogs in certain parts of the world that are particularly moist, such as in Scotland and the Highlands and stuff like that, they actually preserve these bodies of people who basically just died and fell in a swamp, and then they fell in the perfect swamp in the perfect place to preserve their bodies for this long. I mean, this is not like being buried underground or being frozen in ice. They're almost exposed to the world, but the water and the chemicals that are naturally forming in the bog, along with the plant life, makes it so that they're almost... It always reminds me of Lord of the Rings when the dead marshes where like you fall in and there's like actually like bodies that are completely preserved, but they've just been dead for so long, and they definitely Tolkien definitely based that aspect of the story on these bogs in Scotland and otherwise. Don, you want to talk to us about the bog people?
Yeah, bog bodies are kind of crazy. They're, I mean, just like regular mummies, or
just like regular bodies, they were once human beings who were alive.
They've been around fucking forever.
Yeah, they're a great historical marker for us.
Yeah, these that's where it's completely accidental, older than actual mummification.
Yes. They are older than mummies. BC. Yes, exactly. Even a Ramses would blush.
Yeah, the oldest one they found is, this is going to be fun to pronounce, Kolbjerg Man from Denmark. I don't know how his last name is Man. That's wild.
I'm pretty sure that's not his last name. Or his first name, to be completely honest with you.
Oh, man.
Yeah, Kolbjerg Man. His middle name, Justice.
Justice. 8,000 BC dated to.
Insane.
In
which
Denmark.
almost as old as we understand civilizations to be. So this is hunter-gatherer tribes in Denmark at the time.
It's wild.
A lot of Denmark is at sea level, which helps with the marshiness of the whole thing.
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous. Who would want to live there? Bunch of Danes. So I've been playing too much Valhalla.
So you know all the Danes exactly.
Yeah,
that's why they used to call Vikings for many years. They just called them all Danes because like that's just where they're from.
Yeah, which makes sense. I mean,
I like how they called everyone
the closest one of all Scandinavia.
Yeah, and it was the first one to get there. It makes sense, but it's like how people in America up until I want to say 2001 called everyone Asian Chinese for some reason.
Yeah.
That was, even when I was a kid, they'd be like, yeah, that guy's Chinese. Like, no, he's actually from Vietnam, but he just is Asian, so everyone's Chinese.
Look at that guy, he's Chinese. The man's from Kazakhstan.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I get, old English people not being worldly enough to understand that not all Vikings are Danes, but like, people in the year 1995 not understand that all people who are of Asian descent aren't Chinese. Kind of fucking ridiculous. We have come pretty far away just in my lifetime alone with understanding that people are human beings. Imagine that. I know, we're still working on it. A lot of people are trying to get us back to the idea that they're not, but it's a radical new idea that everyone who's alive has a brain like you do and has loved ones in a life like you. Isn't that crazy? We're trying to get back to not thinking that anymore. 2026 is going to be the year of dehumanizing people. It's worked in the past for authoritarian regimes, but we're going to try to go ahead and move on with the bog people being people too.
I have some interesting examples of bog bodies.
I would love to hear them, and so would our listeners.
I'm going to start with a crazy one. Mm-hmm. It's called Rust Girl.
How do you know that she was mentally unstable just because of the body alone?
I mean, your words, not mine.
You said she was crazy. I didn't say that. I was only parroting what you said.
Whatever.
You said it. You start with a crazy one. You said it, not me.
In 1926.
Okay.
Kind of morbid. Young girl they assume was around 3 years old.
That's
so
sad.
Probably fell in and
definitely drowned. Definitely an accidental death.
Didn't die and fall in.
She fell in after being stabbed 100 times in the back of her head.
Yeah, he died.
It was an accident.
Bullets.
Yeah, he fell down an elevator shaft into 7 bullets.
But hard to preserve those kind of things back in the day. 1926, you get the bog body out. It's very small.
Let the bodies hit the bog, as it were.
It got destroyed during World War II. So any tests they had on it before the 40s is all we have to go off of this bog body.
Wow, yeah. Much like most of the modern world, it got destroyed during World War II.
Record of it. It's not like some legend like, oh yeah, it's the curse of this little girl. It's like, oh no, we found it, and then all hell broke loose for 4 years, 5, 7 years, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And
is there any credibility to the fact that this actually started World War II, like a sort of mummy's curse situation?
Who knows?
I think it's worth looking into.
Maybe the mummy was there in that beer hall that night.
the mummy hall putsch. Let the bodies hit the bog. Take another pass at that one. Still nothing? Okay.
Another interesting one. Also a girl. This one's a little creepy for being a woman. It was found in 1784.
Okay.
It was the girl of the Bearler.
So this is definitely before this. They had the scientific acumen to actually take care of it.
They were just like, hey, look at this thing.
Hey, look at this. I would think they probably thought at the time that person died recently. They wouldn't think, oh, this girl's probably 1,000 years old. They're probably like some person was murdered and they were wearing Halloween costume when they died. What the heck's going on here?
What the heck's going on here? So this one, there's actually there's not a ton about this one either. They have a documentation of what it was and what it now is.
And for what it's
worth.
It
was found, her neck and one of her feet were like,
How is her back doing?
Pretty badly damaged.
Okay.
Not that useful. One of the arms was missing. So, not perfect preservation. But the rest of the body was pretty good. But over years and years...
What was pretty good? What are you, coming on nowhere?
Years and years of testing, Only skin from the right side of the chest is still around. The rest of it's gone.
Oh no, that's all.
They'll be like, all right, well, this one little bit won't hurt anything if I just take this.
Yeah, it's like
next thing you know, they're like, oh shit, where'd her leg go?
And then eventually the entire bottle is just full of water instead of vodka at some point. You know, one little sip can't hurt, right? Until eventually.
Mister, can you tell me why my bog body just froze in the freezer?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. It shouldn't freeze.
There's alcohol in that. Do I smell bog body on your breath?
Have you been munching on bog bodies?
Well,
what about the most...
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. No, you
No, I was just going to tee you up for the most famous bog, the Bog Man of, I believe it's Scotland. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe the elevation's too high. But there's the one that's like the classic. The Otzi is the Iceman, and the Bog Man is like he's basically from the Neolithic times, they believe, which is before modern civilization in any form, before farming, that he was basically like a hunter-gatherer guy who he tripped and fell and took a digger into the bog, and then he's even older than that girl, if I am correct, but I don't know. I can Google him as you go if you don't already have him up there, but I imagine he'd be on the top of the list.
It's I think I found him. I'm not totally sure though, because you search up the Bog Man, and it goes, "Oh, you mean Tullen Man?" I'm like, I guess
maybe. Yeah,
that's what you're jumping to.
Yeah, that might be what it is, but I'm not 100% on it. But
no, it's definitely not that one.
Okay, it's not that. Well, it's not that, but.
Jeez.
Dale Denton, nice to meet you, bro.
Oh, are we having fun or what?
I'm having a bog of a time. I'll tell you that right now. Bogham Park, have a bog of a time.
Okay. That's about enough, young man.
Little Whalum Park humor for our listeners out there. I mean, I imagine 20% of our listeners are familiar with the Whalum Park.
I'm not even familiar with Whalum Park. I mean, I know what it is. Never been.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a normal person.
Well, you've never been to Denmark, but you're familiar with that. So let's cut the shit.
Shit, you got me there.
Yeah. Sometimes I do get you.
Yeah.
Once in a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yep. So, anyways, there was this Bog Man. He's awesome. He's old as fuck. He's dead.
Yep. Super old one. The most famous one.
But yeah, it's all this mummification stuff. We have no final thoughts on this pod, but I think it's just amazing. It's just, like I said, most of it's by accident. The oldest ones are by accident. The newest ones are by royalty. But it really teaches you things about the past that you wouldn't know beforehand. And obviously, every human is obsessed with. If not living forever, being remembered in some way. The idea of us dying and then in 100 years no one remembers your name, which is the case, people. I'm sorry. Yes. That is every human who's ever lived, besides like 20 of them. When you die, you're gone. And that's just okay. You have to get okay with that real fast. All your Instagram posts are not going to live forever, but maybe. And also, sometimes people will delete your accounts, because I know many Facebook friends that accounts have been deleted because they're dead, and I think that's rude, because it's like that's our memory of that person. And you're deleting their account.
That way their name can be around for 104 years.
Exactly, until the techno apocalypse where it all becomes assimilated into one being. But yeah, I think it's fascinating stuff, and I'm glad that it happens. Although it's not always on purpose, because anything that can be preserved for long enough teaches us about the past, because we don't have sorry guys, we don't have a telephone that rings to the past. Okay, this isn't Back to the Suture or anything like that. So
Back to the Suture.
Yeah, you know that surgery based Back to the Future spinoff.
That's Back to the Future 2.5, where he goes back in time to make sure.
And then him and Timon and Pumbaa
doesn't get breast implants
work together. Exactly. Yeah.
It's an alternate reality where he lets Biff stay married to his mom, but just changes the fact that her tits are fake. Other than that, he lets it all go.
Yeah. The most important part.
That's where he draws the line. He goes, all right, I
actually forgot that's a plot point.
With my mom's chest is a big no-no for me.
I remember that Biff marries the mom, but the fact that she gets fake tits, I forgot that plot point.
Dude, the exact line is, he goes, who's going to pay for our cosmetic surgery, Lorraine? She goes, you're the one that made me get these things.
Oh, that's sad.
Such a good
love,
movie.
Love me some Lorraine, a.k.a. that actress who's an absolute fox. Too bad she's gone.
Blanking on the name. I definitely know it, though.
She had to go through it. I mean, not only was she in one of the most famous movies ever, Back to the Future, she had to fake bang Biff and Howard the Duck. She went through it, that poor lady. What a treasure.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, that's all
Leah Thompson.
Leah Thompson, legend. Absolute legend.
Fantastic.
I could put her on my top 50 celebrities of all time, just for that alone.
I put her on my top 10 women involved in time travel.
Oh, yeah.
It's a very exclusive list.
It is. It's very exclusive.
Number 1, Hermione Granger.
It's easily, with a bullet. I'll also put on Anne Hathaway from Going Around the Black Hole and Interstellar. Technically time travel. She belongs on the list. Yeah.
Number 7 on the list is Jennifer from Back to the Future. I don't know what the actress's real name is.
Right, but anyways, yeah, fantastic. Well,
Yeah.
maybe we'll do a list
Tune in
of
next week for top 10
top 20
time-traveling women.
time travel hotties. And you better believe I'm putting Michael J. Fox right below Emma Watson on that list.
Number
Close
1,
second.
Freddie Prinze Jr., Clock Stoppers.
You better believe it.
All right, well, it's about that time where Joe and I go get ready for this version of the final segment where we kind of just send you on your merry way.
Send me on my way. Send me on my way.
We're going to go get ready for y'all.
It was me, Barry.
And that is how toilet wine works. You always have to be drinking. It's against the law to be sober on toilet wine. Because we're drinking toilet wine the entire time. I know it looks like we're drinking beers. All homegrown, straight from the porcelain, baby.
Exactly. That's why I whenever I say toilet wine, I go ABD. You know why I skip the C? Because I see food and I eat it.
I thought OBD has always been drinking.
It's ABD. Sorry.
Oh. I know, that's what I meant. That's what I meant to say. You were right.
Always be drinking. Where the C go, I ate it.
Yeah. Okay.
That was my thing.
We'll do another take. Toilet wine the same way.
ABD. I say. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
We always end toilet wine the same way. We do a little toast.
Make a little love.
Get down tonight. Mm-hmm. And this time, I mean, come on. It's why even guess? Everyone knows what it is.
Let's not mince mummy dust over here.
We're toasting to King Ramses II and his fantastic passport photo.
Ramses. It's to you, Ramses.
The best.
You live on again. Ooh.
You know, I gotta say, that's one of my favorite parts of toilet wine is doing the shot.
Yeah.
Because I never do shots.
No.
On the regular podcast.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm glad that we decided to buy embalming fluid for this one. It really fits the theme.
It's not, like, it's a little sweeter than I expected it to be.
Mm-hmm. It's sweet, then it's sour, like Sour Patch Kids.
Yeah. Only you're not sour sweet gone. You're just sour sweet still here.
Still here, longer than you should be. Unnaturally long.
Unnaturally long.
Much like a mummy.
Just like a mummy. Well, I think this is where we end it. And as we always say, thanks for drinking our toilet wine.
We'll see you in 5,000 years when you dig us up, you fucking heathens.
Last night I dreamed I was on the now. Shimmy, 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 shy, I miss it. Dancing with you, Egyptian style. Shimmy, 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 shy, I miss it. Way down in Egypt, and the mummies took our
This podcast is not that kind of podcast.
Because
we don't talk about penises.
Totally intentional what they did this. There's no way it was an accident. He was mummified with his penis in an erect position.
He was mummified penis first.
We want this to be the freshest.
Sorry, guys.
But she was actually embalmed with Pete. And why you know it wasn't just like a mistake. He was in just a regular plain old
t-shirt.
I love New York. You never did Skunk in the Barnyard?
Well, let me guess how it goes. Skunk in the barnyard. 2 bits! found out there was a guy's body in it the
It
whole
was
time.
a dude the whole time.
That's crazy. What if, have we done this to the David statue? Maybe there's a hot dead guy under that. Well,
Super hot guy.
penis.
What about Venus? Maybe we
Oh!
can put her arms back on.
Or Dom's favorite, necrophilia. So necropolis means like a city of the dead, and it's basically just like a giant burial site for all that stuff. Not going to correct me. Perfect. We'll clip that.
I couldn't think of anything fast enough. So I just
Yeah.
let it out.
Oh, yeah. Good. If you can't think of anything good to say, keep your fucking yap shut.
Kind of morbid. Young girl they assume was around 3 years old, and she was actually in such good shape. Her neck and one of her feet were like, they dated her back to 168 BC.
Boy, they dated her? That's
when she
disgusting.
died. But the rest of the body was pretty good. But over years and years,
What
and
was
years,
pretty good? What are you
and
coming on nowhere?
Years and years. Yeah, King Tut with the erection, he couldn't tuck it. Not worth bringing it back up, Dom.
Worth putting at the end of the episode, though. That's for sure.
Oh yeah.